I'd sing Dancing Queen for you, but...
Oh, you should. Wait, do you need a beat?
Do I need a beat? I need to be able to carry a melody.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Professor's Playlist. This week, we are happy to be chatting with Professor Miriam Smith. Professor Miriam Smith is a professor, producer, and a Fulbright scholar. She is currently working on a documentary titled Saving Folk Dance, 3 Folk Festivals in Italy.
And we go behind the scenes. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Miss Miriam, for being here. I appreciate you. What's your favorite, thing about being a professor so far?
Well, as I've mentioned to some of my students in some classes, I think what initially attracted me to academia, I was working in law, was the lifestyle. It seemed to be a great lifestyle, but what really has kept me in academia are the students. So my number one favorite thing is working with students. I love being in the classroom. I love, talking to students. Apparently, I just like to talk, but...
I like hearing you talk. Don't worry.
But, and I've learned so much from students, and then there's nothing more rewarding than seeing students succeed.
Oh, wait, that's so kind. And of course, Miss Miriam, for our first question of the day, what is a song that embodies you as a person?
This is an easy answer. Many of my students who were in Becca 200 would know this answer because I tell them it's their favorite song. Yeah, I'm replacing their favorite song with my favorite song. I don't think it's worked.
Oh.
But that song, once you hear it, it'll become your favorite song. It'll shoot to the top of your playlist. It's Dancing Queen by ABBA.
Ooh, a dancing queen?
Yeah, I'm sort of like a dancing queen, except for I don't dance well. But other than that.
Oh, I bet you dance well. Don't worry.
Oh, no. No, the truth is I was on a drill team at my community college, but it was more of a military style, with pivots and high kicks and splits, which I can do. It wasn't all dancey with grace. My mom once told me I couldn't drop out of taking dance lessons. I had a bunch growing up because I had the grace of a peanut. And apparently she wanted me to have the grace of a walnut. So I wasn't in dance because my future lay in dance. It was so I could maybe not be quite so awkward. But I don't think I ever really got much beyond that sort of, stiffness or awkwardness. But, the drill team worked well for me.
That's good, Miss Miriam. And of course, while you were in college, what was your favorite song to listen to?
Oh, I was in high school in the 70s and college, actually in the 70s as well, and then law school in the 80s. There's so much great music. There were a lot of like Neil Sedaka and, Bridge Over Troubled Waters kind of music. It's such great songs. You can't go wrong with like Billy Joel or John Denver. I had a tape. I was having trouble falling asleep. I still do, but I made a tape that I'd listen to over and over again, and I think it was John Denver. It was sort of soothing. And I figured that by the time he got to Annie's song on that tape, I should be asleep. Or right after that one.
That's good. Especially, you want something soothing, especially during like a kind of a stressful time, especially since you said you went to law school, right?
I did.
Oh, how is law school?
3 years of, I was going to say hell, but no, 3 years. Well, hell's a place. It's not, anyway. It was 3 stressful years that I'm happy to have gone through and, made it. It just wasn't my thing. Everybody I went to law school with, I think almost everybody loves law. I actually went to law school the same as my brother, who's 2 years older. He loves being a lawyer. And he used to play a lot of Elton John when we were in high school. So I should say Elton John's sort of a big one. Oh, my brother loved Jan and Dean, so all of that music just sort of seeped into my bedroom and became my music as well.
Oh, wait, that's so kind. I love that. And of course, I heard you went to, Vienna. Speaking of Billy Joel, what's that significance to you? If you don't mind me asking about that trip.
I think everybody should do study abroad. And I had the chance to go for 6 months to Vienna, Austria. And it's a great city. It was a wonderful experience. It was my first time in Europe. It wasn't actually my first time abroad. My family had been to Canada. Our band in high school went to Canada. But it was really my first trip abroad, and it was so eye-opening and so culturally refreshing. And it was around the time that Billy Joel released the song called Vienna. But apparently the song is really about aging or accepting aging. But for us, there was a group of students. We were all from Brigham Young University. They had a center. We lived together. Someone sent the tape over. That's sort of the era, someone had a cassette tape player, and one of their friends sent the tape over. And so I just remember listening to Vienna Waits for You while we were all thinking, oh, we have to go home soon. Oh, but Vienna will wait for us, and we can come back. I've been back to Vienna twice. It was really nice. It's a wonderful place. Good art, good food, good culture, and I've learned enough German to get by, so that wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, everyone, find a place that speaks to you. It's, wherever that is, and just try it out.
Going into study abroad, you obviously chose Vienna. Was there other options, or was that just the option that you were provided, or was that like your first choice?
Through the same sort of BYU study abroad program, which is a very safe, and there's going to be like professors there and making certain that students are sort of taken care of. So less worry. I should mention I had my oldest brother was killed in an accident when he was in Australia. So, safety was always very important to my parents. And so, BYU study abroad is very safe, a very safe experience. And there was one in Spain, and my other brother thought that would be less expensive, which it would have. There was one in England, but I really wanted to sort of have exposure to another language, and they also had a program in Paris, which for some reason didn't appeal to me. But a friend and I were supposed to go together. She got anxious and went the semester before I left, and so I went. Just once you start thinking, I'm going to do it, things just sort of fall into place. And I did have somewhat of a scholarship from the university. And my parents, we were middle class, but my parents managed to find enough money to support that. At the time, the biggest cost for traveling abroad was the airfare, which is not the case now. Like once you got there, it wasn't as expensive. But it worked out, so I went and I loved it. Then later in my life, when I went to Europe with my older sister and her family and my mom, I had spent more time in Europe, so I was the one who helped my mom out, who had some mobility issues. So, and that was fine with me because I had been to a lot of the places we went to on that tour, like Venice. I'd been there before. So it was fine that I was moving at a slower pace with my mom rather than running around seeing everything because it wasn't so unfamiliar to me. And it was fun hanging out with my mom for that time.
Oh, I bet. And of course, Miss Miriam, what is your guilty pleasure song?
I came up with... I was trying to be really super hip and think of something really radical. That didn't work because, I'm just me. So we just have to go with, I thought of Polivetzian Dances,
Ooh.
which is by Borodin. He's a German composer, but he was also a chemist, I think. But it's from his opera, Prince Igor. And this is the really funny thing. It's such a great piece, and it's rarely performed because you need a choir and a big orchestra. It had really big sounds and really sort of exciting melodies. And I have heard it in person, and it was just great. But the sort of funny part to me now is I think it's set in Central Asia, which at the time I don't think I even really knew where Central Asia was. And then as it turns out, my husband, we've been married about 10 years now, actually grew up in Central Asia. He's of Russian heritage, but he grew up in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent, and that's Central Asia. I think I like Borodin and Russian culture better than he does, but be that as it may, I'm certain he definitely likes Polovetzian dances.
It's a really good song. I listened to it earlier. And of course, Miss Miriam, what is some fun facts about you?
Well, I ring handbells, and we had a handbell choir at San Francisco State. Not that we were officially San Francisco State, but it was started by a librarian, and she was a great organizer. She was also pretty much like, do it this way. But we rang together for over 20 years, which is really quite remarkable. And so that was really fun, and I still ring because there's another group in town that I can join as like a substitute or just part-time. So I do that. That's fun. I do speak some German, and when I travel, I'm almost more interested in the food than in anything else. Like, that's what I think about. Is the food going to be good there? And then if I eat somewhere and it's not a great meal, I feel so disappointed. I know, because I had that experience in Italy last summer. I ate something that wasn't great. It was really well prepared, but the calamari risotto, no, I'm going to stick to mushroom risotto next time. And also, we were in southern Italy, so I should have gotten something more tomatoey.
That sounds really good. And of course, Miss Miriam, do you have anything you'd like to tell the audience, of course, just to get to know you more, or of course, just any advice that you have for them?
I'm on LinkedIn, and I guess my advice is to be kind to people. So, I mentioned I don't generally mention my losing my brother, but so he's been absent for over 50 years, and then my dad is almost 30 some years now, and then my mom, like 20 years. The important thing is to be kind to people and to enjoy their presence. That's what I miss the most about my family members who are gone, is just being there with them. It's like that movie, if you haven't seen it, Being There. Just spend time with people and connect with people authentically. We have more in common with each other than we have different. So that's why we're here, is to help each other.
Appreciate you so much, Miss Miriam. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, guys, thank you so much for watching as well. Tune in 2 weeks for the next episode, and thank you guys so much. Bye, guys.
And a thing called love.